In this video, we're talking about the art of the trade and why I think it's such a good value for collectors. I do a ton of trading. I would even say, the cornerstone of my business, but I'm always surprised at why more people don't do it. So in this video, we're going to break down why I think it's such a good value, how it works with me, and even look at some books that I currently have available for trade. But before we do, if you could smash that subscribe button, it enters you to win 2 free slabs this month. And head over to comicsexplained and use code COLLECT10 for 10% off all in-stock items. We've got some Golden Age stuff just listed, always new stuff coming through, and new trades and stuff. You get first notification if you're signed up to that newsletter over there, and you're entered to win 2 free slabs as well. If you're watching this on Thursday, we normally have a Whatnot show on Friday nights. I have a big one planned. I have a lot of really cool Whatnot inventory to bring to you guys. Link in the description for $15 towards your first purchase on Whatnot, and we always have stuff in the Buy It Now for $15, so you can stop by and pick up a free book. So before we talk about why I think trading is such a good value, let's take a look at what I currently have available for trade. So starting off here, we have Werewolf by Night, number 32, and a 9.6 with white pages. I had this one started out at $8K for some reason, and then I saw that there were some lower sales, so I dropped it to $6,600 for a white pager. Any Moon Knight fans, awesome trade opportunity there. Here's ASM number 13 and 8.0. This was one that I didn't have available for trade right away because of those time constraints, but it's available now. Haunted Thrills, this one just came in, very difficult to find in high grade. Difficult, as far as comics go, difficult period, but especially in high grade. One of the top 14 copies, I believe, on the CGC census. So if you're a PCH fan, this is a real feather in your cap for that one. Surprised that this one is still sticking around. Fantastic Four, number 1 in a 4.5. Origin and first appearance of the Fantastic Four. Just an absolutely iconic book that it's just a great opportunity to trade into one of the most important books in comic book history. Marvel Spotlight 5. I can do this one for a trade. It wasn't originally listed as such on the website, so I'm sure somebody will jump on that. This is bananas that this one is still sticking around. First appearance of Thor. I think I have... I might have a deal. I think it was just like a couple books away from a deal on this one, so this one might be gone pretty soon. This one also wasn't marked as available for trade at first, but it's Journey into Mystery 85, origin and first appearance of Loki, and the third appearance of Thor overall. Such an awesome book. Nice mid-grade copy. This is a real interesting one. X-Men number 2 in a 9.2 off-white to white. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Beautiful spine, a little bit of wear up there at the top, sharp corners, and I think it's a real CPR candidate. I need to pull the notes real quick, but I think there might be something about that. A little bit of a water stain on the back. This is cert number 129. So it was graded probably 10 or 15 years ago. And if you know somebody that does the hop press method for stains and can get that out, I mean, this has a real shot at a 9.6, which I'll put up on the screen the notes and what the grade bump for that would be. I just don't like to deal with hop press method myself. Green Lantern 7 and an 8.5 origin first appearance of Sinestro. I don't think I had that available for trade right away. Definitely didn't have this available for trade right away. Invincible number 1, super hot right now. I will accept a trade offer on that. This one I just sealed a deal on a trade for Invincible 198. Here's another possible CPR candidate. I'm gonna have to pull the notes, but it hasn't been pressed or cleaned, as you can see. There's that little non-color breaking dent there. It's a 104 cert number. I think it has a shot at a 9.6. It's definitely got a bunch of spine stress, but I've seen worse 9.6s than that. So this one could be a good CPR candidate, just with a quick little press. And if it doesn't go for trade, I definitely will do it myself. Flintstones Dell Giant 48, first appearance of the Flintstones. I considered keeping this just because it's such an interesting, cool conversation piece. I mean, this is a nice bridge conversation piece for those friends or families of yours that aren't into comics. Well, they for sure know about the Flintstones. And so, like, they would probably be, someone who doesn't know comics would be more excited to see this on your wall than like, you know, one of the major grails that we all know as comic book collectors. So that's why this is a cool piece to keep in your collection. I think it's like 1,500-1,600 bucks or something, and that's why nobody's bought it for 1,500-1,600. It's a lot of money for a Flintstones. But if you can use some comics that you already have in your collection to get a comic that's a better conversation piece, now you have a good opportunity. This one I just sealed the deal for a trade today. Amazing Fantasy 15 at 2.0. I believe this one is going to be available again for trade. I had sealed a deal on this, but I think the collector had some issues come up with his family, so this one's might be coming back up for trade. This one I just sold today. Man, X-Men at number 1, 7.5 white pages, absolutely gorgeous. Did a partial cash, partial trade deal. I had a whole bunch of offers that, you know, we were just working through them, and then it just goes to the first person that can make the deal. So that one happened today. Incredible Hulk 1, this one will probably be out by the time you're watching this. I think this one closed the deal on that a little while ago. Also just waiting on the books on this one. Amazing Spider-Man 1. Green Lantern 1, this one just sold this a few hours ago. I got to get that out. This one just did a trade on, and last but not least, this one already did a trade on. So as you can see, there's just always awesome opportunities. So if you have that list ready to go, you can just shoot it when you see something that pops up. So why do I think it's such a good value to trade and consolidate some of the books in your collection for a bigger grail? Let's take this trade that I just did, for example, for Fantastic Four number 1 in a 3.5. I had it listed for $12,600 cash or $15,200 in trade, which was plus 20%. I ended up doing a trade for this for about 40 slabs, and so I had to actually add a little bit more of a premium to the trade value because it was so many slabs. But we made this one work, and if you were to have these 40 slabs, and I love this type of inventory and doing trades like this because, as you can see, I'm going to get a whole bunch of Fantastic Four books well under $1,000, a whole bunch of Avengers books under $500, ASM, Tales of Suspense. They are all super desirable titles, and it's really good to have that kind of inventory in your shop, and they sell really, really quickly. But it is a lot of labor to sell, 40 slabs versus just the one. But let's say, for example, if you were to sell the 40 slabs on eBay yourself, if they're valued at $15,200, eBay takes about 15% when it's all said and done. And sometimes, they take even more than that if you use ads, or you might have to accept an offer. I have my whole store over on eBay, and it is very slow moving over there. I mean, a handful of sales a month compared to what we do on the website is just bananas. It's a tiny, tiny percent. So like eBay these days, I don't do a whole lot on it. And I know back when I started my business, it was really, I did everything on eBay, but I think it's really slowed down over on eBay. I get lowball offers all day, but other than that, not a lot of people wanting to buy stuff at full fair market value. So this is assuming you got full market value for your stuff on eBay. You'd have about $12,920 in cash, which is just about the cash ask price of my book. So, you wouldn't get full FMV on eBay, and you would have to put in all the man hours to sell 40 books just to get the same book. So that's why, from face value, it might seem like, $15,200 is a lot for a book that's only worth $12,600. And it is if you're talking about cash, but when you're talking about trading, it's an incredibly good value. I mean, you're getting that grail without having to do any of that selling and stuff. And it works for me too because, I get to grease the wheels. I get, new inventory coming in. Hopefully I get close to this and actually come out a little bit ahead. But usually I think it's about a wash with these trades. But if I didn't do it, I don't want to say I wouldn't be in business, but I certainly wouldn't be doing the volume that I'm doing. So it's not just about like value to value. It's also, has to do with having more inventory and getting stuff that's easier to sell, more liquid. Because if all of my big boy books just sat there at 12,600 or some way more than that until they sold, I wouldn't be able to buy new collections and stuff. But this way, it's keeping everything moving and a lot of funds liquid. Now, how trading works, one thing I would recommend to you is get yourself a community of friends on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be, where you have some collector friends that have similar interests than you. If you can do a one-to-one trade with people, say you collect pre-code horror and maybe, you have some pre-code horror books that you're not really, too attached to anymore, and your friend has another one, you might be able to do an even value trade, and that is ideal. That's when you have it just makes collecting really, really rewarding. But it's very, very difficult to make that happen. I mean, the chances that you have something that's worth exactly what he has, and they're both worth the same, and you both want to do it, it's very, very unlikely. So the more likely scenario is to trade with a dealer or somebody who, sells on the side or something like that. So how it works with me is you get, send me a list of your books. And my biggest advice here would be to have your list ready to go. Stuff moves really quick. So if you're interested in doing a trade, just make yourself a spreadsheet, and it wouldn't hurt to keep your spreadsheet updated as you buy and sell books. Then you just kind of have a note in your head about what you have available and stuff, and helps you stay organized. I prefer just a spreadsheet. You can use one of the collection cataloging databases, but it's not really necessary when it comes to a trade. Just a spreadsheet is enough. And you send me a list of your books. I look up the values. If we can agree on a trade, you get them packed up safely. I'll send you packing tips to what works well for me to avoid any damages in shipping. I send you the shipping label. You ship it to me. Everything is fully insured. Once I receive your books, I ship it to you fully insured. So that's a big part of it too. Sometimes when you factor in the shipping that I pay for these books, sometimes I'm underwater on the trade. But like I said, it's not all about, just numbers to numbers. It's inventory and keeping things moving and stuff like that. So that's why I think it's an incredibly good value. I also offer a service free to the community. If you find somebody else that you want to trade with, you guys can both send your books to me. I'll look everything over and then send them out to you. Because sometimes when you're trading with people you don't know, obviously there's a ton of risk in that. So I can act as a liaison. I offer that as a free service. I just ask that you pay for shipping. If you're a really good customer of mine and we do a lot of business, I likely will just pay for the shipping myself and manage that for you just as a service, and I thank you for the support of my business. Also, I forgot to mention that usually the way it works with my website is because of time constraints, I don't list everything as available for trade right away, because if I, had to manage, crunching the numbers on 20 plus books, I would just run out of time. So typically, I won't offer it for trade right away, but if something's been sitting there on the website for quite some time, shoot me an email and say, hey, would you consider a trade on this? Also, if you're trading a huge amount of books, like 100 or 200 slabs, there's going to be a lot of labor involved with that. And it's going to be less likely that I'm going to want to do like a mega blue chip key for something like that. But I wouldn't say that it's out of the question. You might just have to come off the value quite a bit to justify all the labor and stuff that's involved with it. Another thing that's great about the art of the trade is there's no money leaving your account. I say this often on my videos, like explaining to the wife why you picked up a $12,600 book and why that was a good choice in this economy is a conversation a lot of people would like to avoid. And you can do that by, if nothing leaves the bank account and you're sending out a box and box comes in, but nothing's out of the account, there's a lot less, headaches involved there. Another benefit of trading is you avoid any tax consequences. I mean, if you were to sell $20,000 worth of books and buy a $20,000 book, you're going to get tax forms at the end of the year if you're using PayPal or eBay. I don't know if you would with auction houses. Probably not. You probably wouldn't get a tax form with an auction house, but you're going to, there will be money coming and going from your account. So if you were ever to get audited, it would come up. But with a trade, there's no money involved. It's just trading. And so you can have really good tax benefits as well. So that's all I have for this video. Don't forget those 2 giveaways we have every month. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win the YouTube giveaway. Head over to brycecomics.com and check out everything that's available. Over 500 awesome books and some really exciting stuff on the way. Hope to catch you over on Whatnot. Thank you as always for sticking with me to the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.